All right, guys, let's dive into this Tuesday setup that I am watching on FITB. On the daily chart, we have an overall bullish trend. We're seeing some consolidation on my lower indicators that I use, the awesome oscillator and the compound breakout tool, but a nice daily squeeze setting up. And what I really like about this setup is not only does it have intraday squeezes, but on the weekly chart, it has two valid bullish divergent bars. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this indicator, this is an indicator that I have over at Simpler Trading, where the idea is that if the bar prints a valid signal, which in this case, this printed two weekly bullish divergent bars, then there's a good probability that the underlying price will either go back to the highs of these bars or continue with new higher highs within 3 bars. So on the weekly chart, I'm looking for that to happen within 3 weeks. On the daily chart, 3 days. On the hourly chart, 3 hours. You kind of get the idea, right? So this is a part of my overnight profit strategy class. For those of you who have maybe taken it, you might be familiar with it. For those of you who are not familiar with this class, check out the link in the summary below and you'll be able to find it there with a little bit more information on it. But this has been a really good strategy for me over the years. It's a great way to keep my risks small and look at those quick follow throughs, especially when you're taking the setup on the daily chart. But for this setup in particular, I am looking at the weekly time frame. Now, part of the reason I like FITB is because it's already past earnings. We have a lot of earnings coming up this week and next week, and there are some great charts that look good, but with earnings, it can go any direction. It can completely change the narrative that you're seeing on the chart prior to the announcement. So I'm kind of sitting on my hands on some of those, but FITB has already had its earnings, which is the good news. So it makes for a valid trade idea. We have two valid bullish divergent bars, one looking for a move back up to or above 43.68. The higher target is 43.92. Now, there is a little bit of resistance here on the ATR trailing stop to be mindful of, but if we can manage to get above that, then there's a good probability that this daily squeeze is starting to fire to the upside. So for myself and over in the small lots room, I just jumped into the 43 call out for the August monthly expiration. It's only about 17 days out, but for that divergent bar setup, I'm looking for the follow through to happen ideally by next Friday's close. So it gives me about a week buffer of time using this expiration. If it can get up to target, should allow for a profit on the trade I'm in for 82 cents. So we'll see if it can get going or not. Thank you all so much for joining me. As always, may the trade be with you, my fellow Jedis, and I look forward to talking to y'all next time. Bye.